This whole concept of whatever I tolerate, whatever I accept from myself, it also goes back to what do I expect from myself, right? What do I tolerate? What do I accept? What do I expect? Now, some of the times too, when you have this challenge, which is not part of my message for today, but when you have this challenge, also, instead of putting the pressure on yourself, the problem is that most people go and they put the pressure on their team. Hey guys, we got to do this, we got to do this, you got to do this, we got to do this, I need you to do this, I need you to do that. I had a teammate recently, okay, that was complaining about their upline. And they weren't doing it in a form of complaining. They were doing it and they were asking like, hey, my upline, every time we talk, it's just they're just talking about business. I don't have a personal relationship with them. They don't know what my next goals are. And by the way, do some people have goals outside the business? With outside goals, they keep putting down my outside goals. You know, hey, such and such, whatever you want to call X. Hey, such and such isn't going to get you to have the life you want. If this person has a dream of doing something, and this is their dream, do you think I'm ever going to say, this will never give you this? If this is their passion, do you think I'm ever going to do that? Huh? No. Because it's like the worst thing you can do as a leader. Your job as a leader is to help me accomplish what? My goals. Not help me accomplish what? Your goals. Does that make sense? Yeah. So this person's like, hey, that's never going to get you there. You know it's not going to get you there. You know it hasn't gotten you there. Now, by the way, could that be a reality? Yeah. Sure. But whose job is it to discover that? It's their job. Never put this down. If this is this person's goal, never put this down. When you put this down, and this has been their dream their whole life, you just made an enemy. Now you think this person really wants to run to help you hit your promotion? They don't want to run for you. They want to run away from you. Right? Person says, you know, I don't feel encouraged coming to the office anymore. You know, I sometimes don't even want to be here because I don't want to be around this person. And then they're like, and I like the person. I like them. Like, I believe they're a good person. I know they're a good person. I like the person. But in the beginning, there was a lot of relationship. And now, there's none. And this person's just putting pressure, and all they talk about is numbers, and boom, 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 boom. So this is an issue. That's been me, by the way. I've done that. By the way, I've probably done that to some of you guys in the room. I don't want to ever justify putting the business before people. I never want to justify that because it's not a good example. But I can tell you that I've done this. I read this book this last week, and it was so powerful. I started it a couple days ago, read a few pages, and then I finished it last night at like 1 a.m. And in here, there was a part of her story. It's such a power. I recommend this book for every one of you guys. Like literally, if you're going to be in leadership, this is a great book. This and The Motive. Could you read the title? I can't. Yeah. Difficult conversations don't have to be difficult. If you want to realign, you know how like a car, guys, and this happens to all of us in life, you know when like a car hits a curve or a pothole, it messes up the what? The alignment, right? So now you just kind of, instead of going straight, you just kind of go this direction. So you're constantly having to what? Apply force, right? Small force, you don't even realize it, right? Small force to realign the car. But then you're wearing out the tires in the wrong way, okay? So that's also like when you do an alignment, typically while you rotate tires, sometimes they need to be rotated. So this has happened to all of us, right? We kind of go through, maybe we're frustrated. Maybe we're going through a financial issue. Maybe we're upset that we're not at a certain promotional title, right? Some of you guys upset that you're not at MD? Yeah. I'm upset with my guys that we don't have 2 people that want to become a VP so we can hit SBC. So it's the same concept, different title, right? So maybe you're upset that you're not at a certain promotion. Maybe you're overwhelmed with personal life, right? Is it there's things that we have going on in our personal life, and sometimes we can build a business, it feels like, where the business is insensitive to your personal life. I've done that. I probably lean this way. This is not even probably. I know I lean this way. I'm not saying it's okay. I've led this way my whole life. So does that mean that you can't get there? Does that mean you can't win? No. You can still win, but you're probably going to burn people out along the way, and you're probably not going to have as much fun doing it. See, there's a limiting belief that I had that if you're not running all the time, that you're not going to be successful. Limiting belief, right? And here's why. Now, I do believe you should be running. I don't believe you can run it at 10 all the time. I think you're going to burn out. But I do think that you should find a pace. Maybe we're at a 7 when you are running. 7, you can maintain this. And that's your speed, and you're comfortable doing it, by the way. And then there'll be seasons where you go 9, 10. But maybe 7, 8 is where you run at. I think most people run it like a 1, 2, then they're frustrated, they try to go to a 10, right? And that's the whole part where we've talked about, what your gap is, right? If your best day is a 9 and your worst day is a 1, right? 10 divided by 2, you're averaging a 5, which is failing, right? You're at 50%. But if you could pick this up, right, to where your worst day is maybe a 4 to 5, that's really changes your business. It's not so much having better, like great days. It's having less worse days. It's your worst day still being 5 times better than what it is now. So, but anyways, this was something that was brought up to me this week. Like, hey, how do I have a conversation with this person? I said, you need to tell them how you think. Tell them what you feel, right? Express how you feel. Man, but and this is such a big thing. I don't want a repercussion. I don't know how to spell that. Okay? I don't want a repercussion. I've done this too. Where somebody brings something up to me and then I'm like, I'm maybe a little bit more distant, or maybe I'm, offended, right? Why? Because don't we feel like when somebody goes to somebody else to talk about us, that it violates trust? Where you're like, how can I trust that person? But here's a question for you. Why didn't they come talk to you about it?
They don't trust you.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? Like, I can't believe you went and talked to Alex about me. Why wouldn't you tell me? But the question should be is, man, why don't you feel comfortable telling me to begin with? Right? And you've heard the 5 dysfunctions of a team, right? Number 1 is what? Lack of trust, right? When people feel like you don't care about them, and I feel it too, by the way. Some of you guys, because I'm doing this right now and I'm driving and there's less relationship, I could also tell how you feel too. Some of you guys are like more distant right now because I've been more distant. So guess where you go? Wherever you feel comfortable, welcome, appreciated, right? And typically that may not be your upline because they don't have to manage your performance or oversee your performance, so they just love on you. So it's good to have a sideline, good to have other people in the office that could just love on you, but they're not having to see your inconsistency. So it's like, who's easier to get along with, your grandparents or your parents? Your grandparents, because the parents are dealing with you all day. Grandparents are like, oh, we love you, so sweet. Parents are like, this doesn't clean his room, he's late, he just got a tardy at school, he got an F, he dropped out, he lied, he stole, The parents are having to be the one that correct this, so I totally get it. So just like we all need an alignment, you may need to ask yourself this question. Not like what your team needs to change, but like, what do you need to change? Right? What do you need to change? Not what your team needs to change. What do you need to change? So anyways, it's a phenomenal book in here, and you're welcome, bro. She was so focused on getting this company to sell, she was so focused on hitting MD, let's say. She was so focused on getting this company to sell that she forgot about the people in the company. And then she started losing her best people. And I read this last night, and I've been so focused on, my exit and my 20 years and my this and my. And it was just a slap in the face last night. And I was like, man, you freaking selfish human being. You put yourself ahead of the team. And not intentionally, by the way. Unintentionally. Just because I'm so focused on, 20 years, I got to transition, I got to do this, I got to figure out this, I got to do my next step, that I'm like, man, you freaking A. So think about, and this is so powerful, when you really are looking for clarity, and I don't mean like you're kind of looking, guys. I don't mean you're kind of looking. I mean like you are every second of the day trying to figure out, get clear on your future. If you're living at that level of intention right now, things are going to find you. You found them, by the way, they found you. So like the whole concept of like the motive, the whole concept of this book, both coming into my life. Like I'm watching a video, this guy says the motive, I remember that book. I'm like, man, what's so special about that book? And I go back and I listen to it. And if you haven't read The Motive, it's a phenomenal book. And it asks, why do you want to be a leader? Why do you want to be a leader? Right? And for when you're coming into this business, you consider marketing director success, right? Hey, I get a better comp. I get better recognition, I get GB, I qualify for trips, I make more money. So we look at leadership as a reward or a recognition. But the problem with this concept of looking at leadership that way is that when you look at leadership from a reward and as a form of reward or a form of recognition, then you may resent the work it takes to be a leader. Because you like dealing with people, inconsistency of people, frustration, development, because that's not why you wanted to be a leader, right? So for me, I had to look at that. I was like, man, I wanted to be a marketing director because I wanted to make more money. I want to get my ring. I want to qualify for trips. I want the respect. I want the MD jacket. I want to go to MD meetings. But then you become a leader and then you resent the process of leadership. Like, man, these people are so freaking annoying. Why? Because you wanted the responsibility, the position of leadership from a basis of recognition and reward versus responsibility. Like, I feel responsible to serve people. It's a whole different version. And the people that I've seen that are the best leaders, they typically do it from a sense of service. So I open it up, and it literally is talking about this person, right? Because I'm in the process of like valuation, what's my business worth, and it's literally she's in the same exact place. And then literally she's dealing with challenges, and I'm like, I'm not dealing with those challenges yet. But maybe I am, and maybe I'm just not aware of it. I wonder how many people are feeling that way. Man, wake up, George. You got to put your people's goals and dreams ahead of yours. That doesn't, and by the way, then if you put other people's dreams and goals ahead of yours, you get your dreams and goals. But if you put your dreams and goals ahead of other people, you sometimes don't get your dreams and goals. So I'm not saying don't have dreams and goals. It's just where are they positioned, right? Some of the best times in my business was when I was focused on my guys winning, them hitting their promotion, they're hitting their MD. Like it was the funnest part. And we were winning the most because I was focused on my guys winning. And then there's been times where the business is so difficult and you're like, man, I'm doing everything, but it's just not working. Like it's just not happening. And you're like forcing it. And you're like, man, what happened? When was I like, it was just so easy back then. Now I'm like, it's like I'm squeezing the crap out of this lemon. Why? Man, maybe the motive behind what you're doing affects your motivation and your momentum. It's a phenomenal book, guys. I'd highly recommend The Motive, and I highly recommend this in that order, by the way.